Hi, I'm Sarah with Crafty Creatures, and today we are making the Dragon Eye painting from your Keep 'em Busy box. For this painting, we will need one canvas panel, our paints, and some paintbrushes. And from home, let's find a pencil and eraser, a cup of water for washing brushes, and a mess-friendly place to craft. Now that we have all of our supplies, let's get started. Lay your canvas panel landscape so that it looks wider than it is tall. Use your pencil to lightly draw a big almond shape that takes up most of the space. Don't let this eye shape touch any of the edges, so you can get quite close. We want our eye to be our main focus. Add a narrow, pointed oval going straight up and down inside of this eye. Make it go from the top to the bottom of the shape. This will be the pupil, which is the black part of the eye. Decide what colors you want to use for a dragon. For a traditional dragon, you might use yellows and oranges in the eye. You can also use blues, greens, or purples, or any color you'd like. I want to make mine look like an ice dragon, so I'll be using blues and purples for the most part. But this is going to be up to you which color scheme you want to use. Pick whichever is the lightest color you're using and mix in some white. You want to add about 1 part color to 3 parts white. Paint this light color around the center of your eye, going out about halfway. Separate your light mixed paint in half. Add another part or two of color to one half of your mix and stir it until it's blended. Fill in more of your eye, going close to the edge, leaving roughly a quarter of the space left. Use a small brush and the other half of your light mix to blend between the light and middle color of your eye. Use smooth motions along the line between the colors to help them blend into a nice transition from light to dark. Separate your medium mix in half and add another part color till you have a color that is darker and a bit closer to your original unmixed color. Fill in the remaining space of your eye, using the medium color to blend, just like we did before. We'll let our eye dry a bit and work on the dragon's skin for now. Paint the skin around the eye with either your straight color or another color you like, and that goes. Make sure it goes on nice and smooth. We don't want it to be very gloppy. Decide whether you're going to make your scales the same color or a different color as your skin's base. Since mine has a lot of straight blue already, I'm going to give my dragon some bluish purple scales by mixing my blue and purple together before I start my next step. You can use the straight color, you can use darker color, you can even use a different color if you'd like. Make 3 little piles of your scale color. If you are using the same color as the skin, add a tiny bit of black or a darker color to 2 of the piles. For example, add some blue to green for a green dragon, purple to red, or red to orange. This will be the base color of your scales, so make sure it is either a slightly different color or darker color than the skin. Add a touch of black to one of the piles for the darkest scale color, or red if your scale color is originally yellow or orange, since black would make them very muddy. We don't want muddy colors. Add some white to the remaining pile to make the lighter scale color. Use a small paintbrush and make a line around the top of your eye. You can use either your darker scale color or another color that goes with the skin. Let the line trail off a bit on either side to help make the eyelid shape. Make another line along the bottom, but follow your eye shape exactly, so it starts and ends under your top eyelid. Next, start adding scales to the skin. Imagine that you're making a floor out of flat rocks. Make some big scales and some small scales, all with some space in between. We want to make a pattern kind of like a rocky puzzle. We're going to use just our flat scale color. Let your scales dry a bit by going back to the eye. Let's add a ring of our straight eye color around the very edge of the eye and gently blend it into the darker color with some of our mix from the beginning. Use a small paintbrush to add some thin lines going to the center with our straight color. Have more of this color where our shade underneath is darker and fewer closer to the center where the eye is lighter. Next, mix some more white to our light eye color to make an even lighter version. Add some even smaller lines going around the center, focusing these lines mostly around the middle, but adding a couple closer to the outside. Paint the pupil, that's the narrow oval shape we drew in the beginning, with black paint. Use the other end of your small paintbrush to add a dot of white, overlapping the pupil and the rest of the eye. Add some thin little lines of white just around the center of the eye, like our other lines, but we only want a few of these. Back to the scales. Using your darker shade of scale color, add an outline along one side of each scale. Make sure this outline is on the same side of all of the scales. Add a few dots of this darker shade on the bigger scales, closer to the outlined edge. Next, add an outline of the lighter shade, but this time on the opposite sides of the scales. Again, adding a couple dots with the light shade on the bigger scales close to the light outline edge. This will make our dragon look a little bit more 3D. Let your cool dragon eye dry completely before moving or touching it. Thanks for painting with me today. I'll see you wise owls next time with a new craft. Goodbye.